G'day everyone, Gareth here from Organic Growing Melbourne. Just thought I'd do a quick video, just a little update on the backyard. Just feeding the chooks some broccoli leaves at the moment. They love them. So I thought I'd do a quick tour. But before I do, I wanted to reply to someone who commented on one of my videos, and it was the video I rescued a magpie. So this particular viewer, I was going to say his name, but I won't worry about that. So he's just put some comments up, quite nasty comments up, about how I'm a wildlife vandal. But that's not true at all. He assumed, and that's the first mistake he made, was assume. And just had a rant. Some of you might have read that message. If not, go to the video and have a look at the comments. I think it might still be there. But if you want to know, I haven't done an update. If you want to say hello to Arnold, well, you can't. Arnold has flown away, and I've seen him a couple of times across the road with Mummy and Daddy feeding him. And there's two of them actually, so he obviously had a brother and a sister, and they're nesting on the property directly in front of me in their front yard. Flying around now, having a great old time. So that was my intention. So he accused me of being a wildlife vandal, which wasn't the case. The bird that I rescued was in a tree for over 12 hours. He couldn't fly at the time. In fact, when he did try to fly, he'd get to about a foot, about 2 or 3 foot, and just straight to the ground. He would not have survived the night in that tree. It would have been killed by foxes and cats. So I brought it home, and yes, I had him in here at night, which I don't think is cruel, considering he would have been eaten. And what else can I say? Well, first of all, he never stayed in here, only at night. Sometimes during the day, but working for myself, I was coming home 2 or 3 times a day and feeding him, and I would bring him out and I would put him over here, so he could attempt to fly. So he'd sit up here, I'd feed him up here, I'd leave him up there, I'd go inside, come back out, he'd be happy here. And then one day, and he was flying in the enclosure here, he was getting some good confidence up and was able to fly quite a distance in here. And then he was up here, and he flew all the way over onto this roof just here, and then flew all the way over into that tree on top of the shed there. And he stayed around there for a while. I'd seen him picking worms out of the gutter, and then he flew across and ended up getting over to the front, and reuniting himself with his mum and dad and brother and sister. So he's all good and safe, and my intention was to get his strength up and get him to fly to safety, pretty much, so he wasn't attacked by animals. He also accused me that that I should have called a wildlife expert or a wildlife carer, which in fact I did. I rang up and found out how to look after him. He accused me of feeding him cheap beef mince, which yes, he did get some beef mince, but his main diet was worms from my worm farm. And this was all these details were given to me via a lady who looks after and rescues wildlife, who I went to her house to pick up a cage, which I never used. As you can see, it's still here. No way I could keep a bird in there. Alright, I just thought I'd let everybody know that this particular person I'd also probably come close to saying he's a troll. Nothing ever good to say, because he then also commented on my netting I put on my trees, accusing me of putting them up and killing birds and bats and stuff. I've been growing fruit trees for 11 years, just on this property. Obviously, I've netted my fruit. In those 11 years, not once have I ever had a bird, a bat, or any other animal caught in my nets. So again, another person just assuming that that's what happens. But anyway, I'm over that. I just thought I'd mention that to people in case they're worried about where Arnold is. I'm glad he's back in the wild. I would never keep a wild animal as a pet, ever. All right, let's get into this garden tour. Let's have a look. First of all, if we go to the kiwi fruit, I did a video on this. You can see how much they've grown already grown to the other side. And little flowers coming out. There's still none's opened yet though. See some clusters down here. Cross fingers I get some fruit today, this season. If we go into the cherries again, not much to report on here. They're still holding on. We come across to the black sapote. This is the colossal. This one's actually doing really well. It's looking quite healthy. Now that weather's warming up slightly. The plum tree. This is doing really good actually. It's actually thinned itself out. It'll drop some fruit, but mostly you can see these yellow ones here. They'll all end up dropping off. I'm going to thin out the middle soon. I'll do a video on pruning. I do pruning through the year as well, just so it doesn't get all clustered in here. And I'm not going to use any of these branches for the fruit next year anyway. The nectarine. You can see up here they're really starting to grow now. I don't think it's as many as last year. It's really hard to tell because you can't really notice them when they're sort of still at this colour. As you can see, there's some in there. And we get down to all these tropical. Here's the other black sapote here. Again, not doing too bad. Relinia, doing all right. Still getting some new growth coming out. The Relinia is the Brazilian custard apple. That's very, very tropical. Not the most tropical plant I've got though. We've got the miracle fruit here. Again, you probably haven't noticed any growth from this at all, and it's because it hasn't in the, I don't know, I got it last season, so it's almost a year old, and it's literally done nothing apart from these little tiny new growths here. That's about it. These are the really tropical ones here. This is the soursop. It's still alive. But I think because today we've had such good weather in the last few days, and then all of a sudden it's just, as you can see up here, we've just had hours and hours and hours of rain. It's all flooded again. It's starting to really drive me crazy, to be honest. So yeah, the soursops are going to really, really struggle. They may end up dying. I mean, I can see some new growth coming at the bottom here, yeah, we'll see how that one goes. And then we've got the custard apple. So the custard apple, which is another sensitive tree, doesn't like the frost, doesn't like the cold. But if you can see, we're getting a heap of new leaf growth coming out. And again, this is the other soursop here, and again, we were getting a bit of growth coming out of here, but they've all sort of died off. Again, very, very, very sensitive. This is going to be a difficult one to keep alive. I've only had, oh, here we go, here's the star apple. The star apple's starting to get tiny, tiny bits of new growth. It's dropping a lot of its leaves. And if anyone can remember what that is my Panama berry. That's dead. That is so ultra sensitive. I could not keep that alive. Even inside, it was just really, really sick. Really sick. Avocado, of course. Doing really good. Still, the flowers are still very slow though. There's not, I mean, they're opening, but I mean, if you have a look at this whole cluster here, I can't really see any of the flowers open. So, but they will be. There'll be some that are open. They might be in that transition of the A-type flowers are closing and the Bs are about to open. But yeah, sometimes I come out here and you can definitely see almost straight away that flowers are open. But you can see this one here is just sort of, it's probably closing actually. You can see this one's probably just started closing. But never mind, still none ready. Shouldn't be too long now. As you can see, the bananas are getting all their new growth now. If we have a look inside here, this is the Forte, which is really starting to take off. So all those maroni coloured, so all that is new growth just in the last month. All new growth. So it's liking this area, and before you know it, I'm going to have to take this roof off so it can grow through. And I'll keep some branches to come out into the enclosure so the chickens can probably get in here as well and climb on the branches. We'll see how we go. I'm just worried that wildlife can get through, so I might need to just close this whole side up. I'll see how we go. All right, and we've got the Pink Lady apple here, which is started to produce some apples for us. You can see this flowered a lot for its second year, so we might get a few apples off this. We'll see how we go. Cross fingers. Let's go over to some of these tropicals over here, because we're getting a heap of new growth. We've got the Jaboticabas here. All this is new growth. All this new growth. I don't know what's going on with the top here. I might give that a prune actually, because we're getting new growth out here, but this one's just, so something's attacked the top of that. Oh, that's the large leaf, I think. Yeah, and this is the giant Jaboticaba here, and you can see this is all new growth right here. And we're getting some new growth just coming out of these branches here. Black sapotes, they've still held on to their fruit. They'd be getting on, they'd be almost there, hanging on there for about a year now. That to be 10 months. Cross fingers. Yellow Jaboticaba. See if we're going to start getting some new growth out of these too. All doing really well. Dead lychee. Still praying something might come out. There's a new macadamia tree. Seems to be doing okay now. Avocado seedling. New growth coming up now. Ice cream pea. This has pretty much lost all its old leaves now. You can see there's an old one there, but it's been replaced with all this. This is an old one behind here, but it gets replaced with these beautiful leaves. And we're getting all these new growth coming through. I'm going to have to put that in the ground, I think, this year. Lychee. So if you have a look at the lychee, we've got some flowers. Or lychee, however you say it. We've got flower growth on the tops here. I don't think I'm going to get flowers this year, fruit this year, but hey, you never know. And of course, the white mulberry. I'm out here every day eating white mulberries, and you just got to look. Have a look at that one. These taste so good, excuse me. That was really sweet, that one. So every time I come out here, I eat them. I eat all the ripe ones. Look how white that one is. And the next day there's more. Oh, that was... I bit into that and it exploded with juice. That was amazing. No more. I've got to beat the kids though, you see. There's some really... Look at this one here, this is a beauty, this one. Look at that one. Nice thick one, that one. I could just sit here and just look at it. Look how white this one is. Well, not a big one, but super juicy. Love one. Yum. Look at that Davidson's plum. Look at all that new growth. It's doing really well. Alright, let's move on. The potatoes here. Some starting to die back a bit. Don't know what's going on here. Something's been in there digging, probably the chickens. Where are they? They're trying to eat my strawberries. There's one under the avocado tree. There's two under there. One here. God, they make a mess. Doesn't take long. Put them away soon. Alright. Cherry, like I said, these are all going to fall off. They're not going to do anything. I'm surprised about the pear though. Might get a few pears this year. All swelling up nicely. No plums on that one because that was I had to move that one, cut it right back. Still hasn't woken up. This is the other pear. I think I called that a plum. That's a pear. Here's the other one here. That's the only cluster there. And then we've got this apple tree here, which is going to have lots of fruit, I think, this year. This just was covered in flowers. I think around the ends here, where some of the first ones have started to develop. So we'll get a few apples this year, I think. And for those of you that have watched my Yacon video, that's the progress. I was having troubles with them getting eaten, so I've put some snail pellets down, and I think that's helped a bit because that one was completely eaten down to the ground and it's coming back up now. And the chickens just dug this one up. Look at that, God, chickens. Bananas, sending out all their new growth. Please get some bananas this year. Here's another plum here. This is the ruby. What is it? I can't remember. Yeah, the ruby blood. Again, lots of fruit. The red tamarillo. Lots of flowers up here. Should get some fruit this year. Up in there you can see. New ones here. And then if we come around to the side here, we've got the other tamarillo. This is the orange one. And again we've got some flowers. That's the ginger in there. It's really doing well there. See all this, all the new growth. Potatoes are going crazy now. Absolutely crazy. So I've just planted some cucumbers in here, the Lebanese cucumbers. They'll climb up this, and then I'll probably put some more lettuce at the front of it, maybe. Just something that grows quite low. Corn's starting to go in. Whenever you buy seedlings, this always happens. You transplant them and they start to look really, they start to go yellow like this, and then the new growth starts coming through and they start to take off. Broccoli, started harvesting the broccoli. These are, look at the size of that head there. There's my hand next to it. That's a huge one, that. And there's another one here. Another big one in there. I might let one of the back ones seed. Again, the asparagus I'm not. It's just, I don't know. I was expecting a lot more. A few more have taken, but that's it. And that one was done by snails. And I've put pellets in here as well. I'm getting the occasional new ones coming up, but I don't know what's going on. And I'll give you a hint, if you've been growing potatoes for a few years, they will come up everywhere. Some there. I think I pulled some out of here not long ago. I pulled some more out of there. There's another one here, look. They just come up everywhere. Actually, I did a video on potatoes, harvesting potatoes last season, and I just chucked them in the mulch. I'll show you. I chucked them in the mulch here underneath the bamboo, and already, as you can see, there's one there, 2, 3, 4 potatoes growing here. So I'll leave them there. We'll get some more potatoes this year. Bamboo looks dead, but this is a division off this one here. So you start getting all this new growth coming out the side. The dwarf almond, we're not going to get too much more growth out of that this year. That's pretty much, there'll be a little bit more, but not too much. No fruit, obviously. First year in the ground. The Brazilian cherry, this is actually doing quite good. This is getting quite a bit of new growth. Just need this weather to warm up. And the grummy chama, again, heaps of new growth. The only thing that's suffering is the red Chatoot mulberry. I've actually pulled the fruit off. I've deliberately pulled the fruit off. They were all starting to get really spindly and not swelling up. Some of them were drying out like this, as you can see. So I've pulled all the fruit off, and I'm going to give it a bit of a chance to establish in here, because I've only just planted this. I mean, it's healthy. It's still getting a heap of new growth, but I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that to develop some better root systems in here before I really start getting the production of the fruit. Alright, the dragon fruit. So the dragon fruit I haven't put into a big pot onto this trellis step. It's actually taken off. As you can see, we've got a new growth here, and this one's just starting to bring out a new one as well. But this one, look, this one is. There's one just coming through the top here, but the other two haven't yet. Hopefully they'll be all right. This is the dark star. This one's quite a fat one, but that's good. Good to see some new growth off the dragon fruit, because they do suffer. The purple haze, I was told, was quite a vigorous growing dragon fruit. So, but I'd like to get one more variety. I don't have a yellow dragon fruit. Apparently the yellow dragon fruit's the sweetest out of them all. So I think I might get myself a yellow dragon fruit. Look at the holes they dig when they come into this mulch. Look at this. It's almost getting under the fence, look. This one here, look at this. What are you doing? Hey? Yeah. I should put my poultry net back up. Hopefully these avocado will be ready in about, well, not long. They're supposed to be ready, I think, next month, thereabouts. I should be able to start harvesting some. None are falling off. I can't see any that have fallen off. But once they're ready, I'll do a video on it. Do a taste test. I'm looking forward to these. This one here's looking quite good actually. Oh, not quite ready. Not quite ready. You can tell we're getting close though. No, I can't see any that are. They're still quite green. I want them to start going a bit darker before I try and harvest any. See, they're still very green. That's a whopper, that one. All right, I'll wrap this video up. That was just a quick tour, a bit of a rant at the beginning, and I'll do a video of the front yard in a couple of days. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Take care, bye.